Hello, everybody. This is Coach Allison, and I've got your week 48 Defy Aging workout to review. And this week, we're going to split the workout into two separate little components. We did that a couple weeks ago. The first one is going to be an in your own space routine. You're going to complete 3 different exercises for, I think it's 3 things. Yes, 3 different exercises, again, in your own space. 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off for 5 rounds. So it's kind of be moving pretty quickly from one thing to the next for that little mini circuit. After that's completed, you're going to have stations on the turf, and we're going to move to that sort of more standard rotation on the turf space. 4 stations there. So if your session is large, more clients, a larger session size, you're going to have to double up at some of those stations, but it should work just fine. There's not a lot of equipment needed. 4 stations for 3 rotations of 40 seconds on. Pardon me, I flipped that. 30 seconds on, 40 seconds off. Okay, so we're kind of hectic, kind of moving around a lot. And again, 2 different components this week. Let's review what all of the exercises are for the week. All right. Station 1 for the first little mini circuit, the in your own space one, is a bear hold. Okay, hands and knees. Very important, the hands are directly under shoulders and the knees have a 90-degree bend, so the knees are directly under hips. So by that I mean they're not, too far back here. That's very important. Curl the toes underneath and we lift the knees 1 inch only off the floor. You probably can't even tell that they're lifted off the floor because I'm wearing something dark and it's dark over here. Something. But yeah, you only lift the knees about this high off the floor. So what I mean by that is we're not lifting them like way up here. That takes away most of the challenge and the purpose of this exercise. The purpose here is mostly legs. It's challenging on the shoulders and chest and everything as well. But if you lift those knees just this 1 inch off the floor, keep your back nice and flat so we're not arched or rounded in the back, you're going to feel the challenge in those legs. And again, if your legs are too far back here, we're taking away the challenge in those thighs. So we do want those knees to be at 90 degrees. And you can almost feel the floor, like, you should almost be grazing the floor with your knees because your knees are that close to the floor, 1 inch only. All right, so that is the bear hold. Anyone staying off the floor, we're doing an isometric squat. So you go down as low as you're able. So do 1 or 2 squats just to get the feel for what your normal squat is. But then we hold the bottom position of a squat. Can't put your hands on your thighs, okay? And we hold that position for the 20 seconds. Make sure it's a normal squat. So we're not doing, we're not like bringing the head down but keeping the butt up or anything like that. Again, no like holding or resting the arms on the legs. Normal squat, but we're holding at the bottom, and that's your alternative if anyone is staying off the floor. All right, that is our bear hold. After the bear hold, we go right into, so you'll do your 20 seconds. All you have to do is rest right here for 20 seconds. We go into Superman. So you can lie flat on your stomach, arms out, keep the neck neutral. So we don't do this with the head at all when we're doing Superman. Keep your head still. Your head just moves with your torso. We lift and lower the legs and the torso as much or as high as you can. Again, watch my head. We're not doing this. So that's very important that we're not cranking the neck like that. Anyone staying off the floor, there's 2 options. You can do an incline bird dog. I'm just going to use the rower because it's here, but you would definitely want a full bench or box or something with a full flat surface. But you put your hands on your bench and do an incline bird dog like this, alternating arm and leg extension. There is a way to do kind of a Superman on a stability ball. It's actually called a back extension, but it's a little tricksy to get in and out of it. Kind of lay on it like this on your torso, your stomach, and your ribs, and obviously support yourself with your feet. You can put your hands, kind of your fingertips, just behind your ears here, and sort of a small hyperextension, and release back down. And that's an option too. And then to get, I guess you can just kneel to get in and out of it. I made it look harder than it was. Yeah, kneeling works. But then you're kind of getting on the floor anyway, so you might as well just do Superman. So anyway, sometimes Superman for some people is uncomfortable, like the pressure on the ribs and the stomach on the floor. So if for any reason Superman is just super uncomfortable for you, that stability ball back extension is another, it's just an option, but it can be a little tricksy to get in and out of. So anyway, you can try that if you'd like. All right, last but not least, the third thing in this little mini circuit, I feel like I'm going to hit that with my legs, is a starfish. It's an ab exercise, core, chest, well, abs specifically. So you'll be on the floor after your Superman, so all you have to do is flip over. Man, am I going to hit? I'm in a small little space here. Okay, arms are out in like a Y shape, so they're not straight up. Legs are also kind of in like a Y shape out, so they're not in a pencil. So we're making a starfish, see? Okay, rest your head down. And we come up and reach for the opposite, shin, ankle, foot, whatever you can get. But it's important that you're also lifting. See how I'm lifting my head and my shoulder blade off the floor here as well. So we're not keeping the head down and just lifting the leg and arm. We are coming into a crunch. To do that, you have to lift the head and the shoulder off the floor. But it's very important we always have one leg on the ground for back support. So when one leg is up, the other leg is fully down. You can rest your head down between each rep, just to give your neck like a split-second little break between each rep, because it does tire out the neck just a little, but 20 seconds is very manageable. Anyone staying off the floor, we're going to do a wrist to knee. I like reaching the wrist to the knee because it just gives a little extra range of motion versus the hand. It's minimal, but it's a little extra oomph, if you ask me. We're not reaching the elbow to the knee. That if you reach the elbow to the knee, that forces too much like back, like an accordion, and we don't want that achy posture. We're not doing that. So you start like this, and then reach that elbow, or sorry, I just said not to do the elbow. Hello, reach that wrist towards the opposite knee. And again, you can do the hand, but I feel like the wrist just kind of gives that little extra twist range of motion. That's just my opinion. You can do the hand if you want, but anyway, that's the alternative for staying off the floor, and that's our starfish. Okay, so that wraps up the little mini circuit. 5 rounds of all that. It's a lot of core, abs, back, hips. Okay, now I'm on to the turf. So we have 30 seconds on, 40 seconds off. The first one is walking lunges. Okay, I know we have reverse lunges in our warm-up. Now we're going to our standard walking lunge. I'm not going to spend a ton of time going over form on this because we're doing the reverse lunges in our warm-up. It's the same form, all the same form cues. We're just going forward instead of backward. The reverse lunge is stationary, whereas this is actually moving forward. Get as low as you can. Whatever that might be, continue walking forward. When you get to the end of whatever route your coach has, turn around, come back. One thing to keep in mind is we're not leaning forward like this. If you need a little push on the thigh, that is completely fine. No problem there. Make sure you're taking a pretty wide step. If your step is too narrow, it kind of like kinks the lunge together a little bit. Form's not great, so big wide step so you have that space. And it's very important, I do want to point this out every time we do lunges. Watch my back foot here. It's very important that we are keeping the back foot straight and not cocked out to the side. Because, that actually hurt. Because that puts a weird, I can't even do it because it hurts. That puts a weird see, it makes your foot fall onto its side, puts a weird angle on your ankle and therefore on your knee, and that comes up into your hip. So make sure that back foot is staying straight. You're allowing the back foot to roll up to the toe so it can do this. You're not allowing it to fall onto its side. Sometimes we have the tendency to want to allow the foot to turn onto its side because that gives us a wider base for balance. Your foot straight is this narrow. If it turns, now it's wide. So it's a wider balance. Does that make sense? So that's kind of why our body wants to do that, but it's not great for joint integrity and why can't I think of the word? Keeping everything in line. So don't want to do that. That's very important. So anyways, walking lunges is station 1. Station 2 is a push-up to a mountain climber. Okay. This one's challenging. So, well, I mean, it's push-ups, but it's kind of nice because it's not just constant push-ups. Your push-ups have a little something to break it up. So if you're doing toes, it will look like this. You do one push-up and then bring one knee in, other knee in. Push-up, knee, knee, and continue. Now, if you're doing knee push-ups, this doesn't really work. So I'll show you what your alternative is. It's going to be a little different. If you're doing knees, remember your hips are down. A knee push-up is not like butt in the air and just sinking your head down. You have that diagonal body position. See how I sunk my hips down? So you'll do push-up, pop up to your toes, and back down. Push-up, pop up, back down. That's going to be your alternative instead of the mountain climber. Okay, so it is a little different. Now, if you're doing an incline variation, you can do the mountain climber just the same as the folks on the floor. Move this ball. It'll look exactly the same. You do your one push-up, knee, knee. Okay. All right, so that is station 2. That one's going to be a good aerobic one as well as the chest work, of course. Station 3, I have this one called Crazy Cardio Station. So this is 100% up to your coach. If we have multiple people, because there's only 4 stations, so if you have any more than 4 people, there will be some stations doubled up. So it's completely up to them. They might use a multitude of equipment. So some people might be doing battle rope slams and agility ladders and jumping jacks and maybe the tank or the rower or the airdyne or the spin bike or burpees. I don't know. So 100% up to your coach, but it is a cardio station. Let's see what kind of stuff they come up with for you. All right, last station is a band reverse fly. I haven't done this one for quite a while. So it's working the rear delts, backs of your shoulders. It's a very small, weaker area on everybody. So it's a weaker area for all of us. So you'll want a lighter resistance band. Unfortunately, all of our light bands at this gym have broken. So I'm using a stiffer band, which sucks. So wish me luck. I like to put my hands through the handles just so they're not flopping around everywhere. That's just my preference. Otherwise, they're dangling and drooping everywhere. It has nothing to do with the actual exercise. It's just my preference. Grip it, 8 to 10 inches apart. I don't know. Arms are out in front of you at chest height, maybe a little higher, because I personally like to pull at a slight downward angle. So to pull downward, you have to start higher. That's just my preference. And we keep the arms mostly straight. See how I have a super subtle bend in my elbows. That's literally just so they're not locked in straight. Never lock in your elbows. No matter what exercise you are ever doing, you never lock in your elbow joint perfectly straight. So I'm just keeping a super subtle bend in my elbow for that reason. And from there, we just open up the arms, like kind of think of it like wings opening up. What you want to avoid is like an elbow extension. So once you find that arm position stays the same at all times, and the movement is from the shoulder. So it's always like this. It's never like this. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of them so you can see that in action. See how my arm position is never changing? I'm not doing this. I'm not extending and bending from my elbow. Okay, because what we're trying to get is these muscles here. If you're doing something with your elbow, that's not getting these muscles here. So open your arms like wings. Pop out your chest. That's very important. We're not caving the chest in. So pop your chest out. Draw the shoulders back. You can even have a very slight arch in your back like this, because that helps to also target these muscles, okay? So we're being a relatively simple movement. There's actually a lot of stuff to think about doing correctly, okay? So pick a resistance band that is doable for all of those components, and you wanna be getting fatigued back in this area here, okay? And that's our band reverse fly. Okay, the team builder is it's more of a, it's actually like a finisher. We're not working as a team this week. So it'll be an arm finisher. Isolate some arms. Haven't done that for a while. So everyone is, you might, if you have a bigger group, you might have to split into 2 teams and kind of trade off. I don't know if you have enough bands. So, because we're going to end with 15 tricep pushdowns, 15 bicep curls for 2 rounds of each. So the tricep pushdown, quick reminder, band is hooked up somewhere high. I like to stagger my stance. That's my preference. You can stand like this. Palms are facing forward to start. Lock your upper arm against your side like this. Okay. This is your starting position, and we push down and release up. But what we're not doing is letting that upper arm move away from our side. See how I'm keeping my upper arm glued against my side at all times? I'm not letting my elbows raise up. Okay, again, keeping my elbow pinned to my side. So 15 of those, okay? And then, look at me being super prepared. I guess I was planning on hitting the stop button. You can move away from that to let someone else come in and use the bands. We're gonna do 15 bicep curls, your choice. I'm gonna let you guys pick for yourselves. If you wanna do hammer curls or keep the palms forward at all times, or my personal favorite, I like to keep the palms like this to start and rotate them up at the top, turn them back in at the bottom. This is my favorite kind of curl. It's the most comfortable for me. Whatever you do though, whatever kind you do, we're not swinging at the bottom like this. We're not letting the elbows drift back like this. Always keeping your elbows at your side. Same cue as the tricep thing. Anyway, so whatever curls you do, keep those things in mind. 15 tricep pushdowns, 15 curls, 2 sets of each, and that'll be our kind of our arm finisher. All right, that wraps up week 48. Hope you enjoy this workout. See you back next week.